God, the girls were my age in that car. Like, I could have been at that party too. I don't, it's so sad.
In the late hours of January 28, 2023, 3 women who were invited to a multi-million-dollar mansion would be shot dead on arrival. At around 2:30 a.m., the Los Angeles Police Department would respond to an emergency call about multiple shootings in the upscale Beverly Crest neighborhood of Los Angeles near Beverly Hills. A luxury short-term rental property had turned into the scene of a chilling tragedy. But nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to find. When they arrived, detectives were confronted with the chilling sight of 3 lifeless bodies in a vehicle. They had been shot multiple times. As they began to investigate, the shocking truth emerged. These women had been gunned down multiple times just moments after being invited to the mansion. But the question remained, who invited them and why were they targeted? And tragically, their story echoes one we've already covered on this channel. Do you remember the case of the Detroit triple murder? The 3 gay men who were shot dead for revenge in a Detroit house party?
Wow. Oh, I got a cowboy boots on, period. Period. Period with my cowgirl boots on. Wow. Hold on. Man, is that real?
If you haven't watched that one yet, I'll link it at the end. It's a heartbreaking echo. Now, let's look at the tragedy of these triple LA mansion murders. To understand the weight of this tragedy, we first need to know the victims. 3 vibrant individuals, each with their own story, their own dreams, and a circle of people who loved them deeply. Their lives would intersect in the worst way, but none could have predicted how it would end. The victims were Ayanna Hutton, Destiny Sims, and Nina Davis. But before that tragic event, the night began with excitement as the women attended an event in Beverly Crest, a community known for its large, luxurious homes and proximity to the iconic Beverly Hills. The trio, each with their unique stories, were seeking joy and celebration. 33-year-old Ayanna Hutton from Chicago was a woman with dreams that stretched beyond the confines of her upbringing. Ayanna's personality was magnetic, and she was admired for her focus and ambition.
You know you're authentically anointed when people who got more than you don't like you. And you're trying to figure out why you attacking me when I ain't got nothing. I hope y'all tap this church. God said, if they hate you at this level.
She had big plans for her career and was working hard to make her mark in the music business. A rising star in the music industry, she was known for her dedication to her career, a passion for rap, and her deep connection with the people around her. Those who knew Ayanna would describe her as a vibrant, hardworking woman who always had a smile on her face. Her focus and determination were evident to all who knew her, especially as she worked tirelessly to push her music career forward. Recently, she had launched a new project on Apple Music, one that marked a significant milestone in her journey as an artist. Her friends described her as someone who was always the center of attention in the best way possible, and someone who worked hard for the life she wanted to build. But her dreams and her future were cut short in a moment of violence that none of her loved ones could have ever predicted. But it wasn't just Ayanna that had big dreams and ambitions. 26-year-old Destiny Sims, a mother of 3 from Buckeye, Arizona, was another bright soul with dreams of her own. Destiny had ties to Chicago but had moved to Arizona in recent years. She was known for her distinctive, stylish looks and had built a reputation as a creative, caring, and nurturing individual. A hairstylist by trade, she was known for her creative and unique style, often pushing the boundaries of beauty trends. Her friends remember her as someone who always put others first, but her nurturing nature didn't just stop with her clients. It extended to her children, her family, and her friends. Destiny was a loving and nurturing mother, always putting her children's needs first. She had a love for her family, which was evident in everything she did. Those close to her described her as ambitious and loving, a woman with an infectious energy. Tragically, Destiny's bright future and the loving presence she had for her children was snatched away when she would become one of the victims of this senseless violence. But there was Nena Davis. A 29-year-old woman from Bolingbrook, Illinois, she was one of Ayanna's closest friends. According to reports, Nena and Ayanna grew up together. Known for her caring nature, Nena was the kind of person who would go out of her way to help others. Her family described her as generous and always supportive. She had a deep connection to her children, and she was known to actively engage with her community. Whether on the sidelines of a school game or supporting her children in other ways, Nena was the epitome of a devoted mother.
Lisa, move up a little bit. Let's go.
She had recently suffered the loss of her father, which made the circumstances surrounding her death even more tragic. The three women were in Los Angeles to celebrate a rapper's album release party. They had traveled together to the City of Stars to enjoy a moment of success and fun, a far cry from the violence that would soon find them. On the fateful night of February 14, 2024, Ayanna, Destiny, and Nena were in a car outside the luxury rental home where the party was taking place. But what was meant to be a night of celebration quickly turned into a scene of horror. As they sat in their car, gunshots rang out, and the three women were struck down in cold blood. At approximately 2:30 a.m., officers responded to the 911 calls that reported a shooting at a property in Beverly Crest. The location was a multi-million-dollar rental home situated in the Santa Monica Mountains, known for its private pool and outdoor shower. As police arrived, they found the victims' lifeless bodies inside the vehicle parked outside the residence. Destiny Sims, Ayanna Hutton, and Nena Davis had been killed, leaving behind a void in the lives of their families and friends. Witnesses who were at the scene spoke of the chaos that unfolded that night. 4 others, 3 men and 1 woman, were also injured in the shooting. 2 of them were critically wounded. More than 30 gunshot rounds were found at the scene. According to police, the motive behind the shooting remains unclear.
Around 2:30 this morning, West LA officers received multiple 911 calls of a shooting with people down at a residence here in the 2700 block of Ellison Drive. When the officers arrived to the scene, they found 5 victims suffering from gunshot wounds. The Los Angeles Fire Department responded and pronounced 3 of those victims deceased here at scene. 2 of those victims were transported to local hospitals, with a total of 4 victims that were transported to hospitals. The ones that were transported, we have 2 in critical condition at this time and 2 in stable condition.
Investigators initially thought that it could be a robbery gone wrong, especially since the suspects were believed to be among the partygoers. However, the details surrounding the shooting were still murky. As the investigation progressed, police received multiple calls from neighbors and witnesses who were trying to piece together the events that led to the tragedy. While nothing has been confirmed about what was taken from the rental property, the shooting appears to have been targeted. The investigation into the tragic deaths of Ayanna Hutton, Destiny Sims, and Nena Davis began immediately after the shooting, with the Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery and Homicide Division taking the lead. The department focused on the details surrounding the shooting, which had occurred in the Beverly Crest neighborhood at a luxury rental property. Witnesses had reported seeing the victims sitting in a car outside the residence when gunfire erupted, leaving the women fatally wounded. The authorities quickly focused on gathering evidence from the scene, including witness testimony and surveillance footage from cameras at the property. Despite these efforts, the investigation initially progressed slowly, and by the following week, no arrests had been made. The lack of immediate leads only intensified the heartache of the victims' families and the community at large. Detective Megan Aguilar, who was leading the investigation, acknowledged the challenge of piecing together the events that led to the shooting. Though some believe the attack may have been targeted, the exact motive remained unclear. Authorities were also exploring whether the incident had any connection to gang activity, particularly because several attendees at the event were known to have gang affiliations. The LAPD described the attack as callous and violent, using ambush-style tactics.
In both of these cases, the suspects used ambush-style tactics on their unsuspecting victims. Planning and coordination was utilized to carry out these attacks.
In addition to the evidence from the scene, investigators worked tirelessly to gather information from neighbors, witnesses, and anyone who might have been in the area that night. A $5,000 reward was offered for tips leading to an arrest, with law enforcement hopeful that the public could provide the crucial information needed to solve the case.
Again, we're asking for anybody with information to contact Robbery Homicide Division to help us solve this crime.
As the investigation dragged on, progress was slow, and the community began to grow frustrated with the lack of developments.
The collaboration and cooperation between law enforcement agencies across the country is crucial in ensuring that those responsible for such brazen acts of violence are brought to justice no matter where they may attempt to flee.
However, on May 12, 2023, there was a significant breakthrough. The LAPD arrested 3 individuals in connection with the shooting: 28-year-old Derry Stanford, 28-year-old Dejon Tompkins, and 23-year-old Dante Williams. Dejon Tompkins was taken into custody on April 10th, according to the Los Angeles Police Department. Weeks later, Dante Williams was also apprehended in Gary after initially evading arrest. A third suspect, Derry Stanford, who is also from Chicago, was arrested in New York on May 10th.
Update on the case of the murders in LA of 3 women with Chicago ties. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office announcing charges against 3 men, all from Chicago, describing them as reputed gang members. Police say the 3 have been taken into custody in the past few weeks, 2 in Chicago, the other in New York. All are awaiting extradition.
All 3 men were later extradited to Los Angeles and charged with multiple counts, including murder and attempted murder in connection with the deaths of Iana, Destiny, and Nena. The arrest of these 3 men was a major development in the case, bringing a sense of relief to the families and the community. However, it didn't fully erase the pain of the loss. It was later revealed that one of the suspects was also linked to another crime. Dejon Tompkins was also linked to a December 2022 homicide in North Hollywood, which further complicated the investigation and added to the depth of the criminal background surrounding the case.
Thank you. Breaking news now. The LAPD has just announced arrests in a deadly triple shooting in Beverly Crest earlier in the year. The investigation also making a connection to another fatal shooting in December. KTLA's Aaron Myers in downtown LA now with the latest. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. The LAPD says 3 men have been arrested in connection to that shooting of those women in Beverly Crest. That happened back in January. They've also been connected to a shooting death of a man in North Hollywood back in December. We'll go ahead and show you the pictures of the men that were arrested. They've been identified as 20-year-old Dejon Tompkins, 22-year-old Dante Williams, and 28-year-old Derry Stanford, all from Chicago. And they have been arrested in the shooting deaths of the 3 women. The victims were identified as 33-year-old Iana Hutton, 29-year-old Nina Davis, and 26-year-old Destiny Sims, said to be from the Chicago area as well. Now, the women were shot and killed outside of a short-term rental property located on the 2700 block of Ellison Drive in Beverly Crest in the early morning hours of January 28th. Investigators say a group of people who grew up together from Chicago were visiting Los Angeles supporting a rapper. The group had come back from a night of bowling when the suspects opened fire.
He was charged with 4 counts of murder, 6 counts of attempted murder, inclusive the 2022 murder. Dante and Derris were both charged with 3 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder. With the arrests made, authorities began to close in on the full details of what led to the violent attack. As more information surfaced, it became apparent that the perpetrators were members of a Chicago-based gang, which provided some clarity on the motive behind the killings. Yet, even as these men were taken into custody, the search for full closure continued for those who had lost so much. But the community's reaction to the arrests was mixed with relief and lingering sorrow. The news that 3 individuals had been taken into custody provided some sense of justice, but the emotional toll of the incident was far from healed. The families of the victims, while grateful for the progress in the investigation, still struggled with the devastating loss of their loved ones. For those who knew Iana, Destiny, and Nena, the pain of their absence was felt deeply, and the impact on the community as a whole was profound. Local residents, who had followed the case closely, expressed their anger and frustration over the senseless violence that had taken place in their neighborhood.
Early Saturday morning, residents of this quiet Beverly Crest neighborhood located up Benedict Canyon were awakened by what they say sounded like machine gun fire. 7 people were shot, 3 killed outside this short-term rental on Ellison Drive.
It makes me very sad and scared, and I have a really uncomfortable feeling being in the neighborhood. This morning at 10 a.m., I didn't know if I should walk the dog or not.
Many were disturbed by the fact that a celebration had turned into a bloodbath, and the fact that the shooters may have been attending the same event added another layer of horror to the situation.
It's sad the girls were my age in that car. Like, I could have been at that party too. It's so sad.
till there was a sense of justice moving forward with the arrests, many in the community continued to demand answers about the motive behind the killings. The question of why these three women, full of life and promise, had been targeted remained a painful mystery. Despite the progress made in the investigation, the community felt a collective unease, knowing that violence like this could strike so close to home. The police have continued to appeal for anyone with information to come forward, and the $5,000 reward remained as an incentive for anyone who could help close the case completely.
As the families of the victims and the community waited for trial dates and further developments, they held on to the hope that justice would be served and that the lives of Iyanna, Destiny, and Nayna would be remembered not just as victims, but as vibrant women who had so much life yet to live. As the case continues to unfold, the families of Iyanna, Destiny, and Nayna have found strength in their shared grief. They have supported one another through the anguish of losing their loved ones and continue to rally together in the fight for justice. The loss of three young women, each with their own dreams, aspirations, and bright futures, has left an indelible mark on the families, and their pain is immeasurable.
I'm ecstatic that they caught the demons. I refer to them as demons because that's what they are. It's awful that our daughters were caught up in this senseless killing.
Destiny Sims' mother, still in disbelief at the loss of her daughter, has spoken out on multiple occasions about the heart-wrenching tragedy. Destiny, a mother of three, was described as loving, nurturing, and full of life. Her family is now left to raise her children without their mother, and the emotional toll has been profound. Destiny's death has also left a void in the hearts of those who knew her, as she was a beloved figure in her community, known for her talent as a hairstylist and her kind spirit. The community has rallied around Destiny's family, offering support and solidarity in the wake of this devastating loss. Similarly, Iyanna Hutton's family has been vocal in their grief and their desire for justice. Iyanna, a 33-year-old aspiring rapper, was just beginning to find success in her music career when her life was cut short. Iyanna's father, Keith Hutton, posted a heartbreaking tribute on social media, expressing his sorrow and gratitude for the time he shared with his daughter. Iyanna's family continues to hold on to the cherished memories of her life, hoping that the justice she deserves will be served. Nayna Davis's family, too, has struggled with the loss of a beloved daughter, mother, and friend. Nayna, a 29-year-old woman who had recently lost her father, was known for her caring nature and her devotion to her children. The loss of Nayna has been particularly difficult for her family, as they are still mourning the passing of her father just months before the tragedy. The pain of losing both a father and a daughter in such a short period of time is something that no family should have to endure. Her family continues to seek justice and closure, hoping for the answers that will allow them to begin healing. In the wake of the murders, there has been a growing call from the families and the community for justice to be served. The families of the victims have vowed to continue their fight until the perpetrators are held accountable for their actions. The loss of Iyanna, Destiny, and Nayna has highlighted the devastating impact of senseless violence, and the families are determined to ensure that no other family has to experience the same heartbreak.
Seeing your daughter laying in the hospital bed with her brains hanging out of her head. My God, that is a hard pill to swallow.
In the early hours of April 4th, 2023, 21-year-old popular hairstylist Cameron Olivia Price was shot dead while on vacation with her new man. At around 3 a.m., Cameron and her new man had just finished having the time of their lives, full of energy and laughter, still riding the high of a night well spent, and were leaving the club when they were brutally shot multiple times by an unknown person. It wasn't until 7 months later that investigators would uncover a devastating truth. The one behind it was someone no one would have ever suspected, but their motive for killing Cameron was far more disturbing. This is the life and death of Cameron Olivia Price. Cameron Olivia Price was born on July 7, 2001, in Chester, South Carolina. Raised by her loving parents, Jesse and Creighton Price, Cameron grew up in a home filled with warmth, support, and strong family values. She shared a close bond with her sister, LaJessica. The two were more like best friends than siblings. Family always came first for Cameron. She helped out in every way she could, running errands, doing household chores, or simply being a shoulder to lean on. She was known for her kind heart, always putting others before herself. Friends and relatives remember her as the one who showed up, no matter what. Cameron's light didn't just shine at home. On social media, she was full of life, posting smiling selfies, funny moments, and positive messages that reflected her joyful and driven spirit. She dreamed of becoming a business owner and was working hard to make that dream a reality. Those who knew her say she brought a special kind of energy into any room. Her laughter was contagious, her hugs warm, and her loyalty unmatched. It was easy to see why people loved being around her. Growing up, Cameron had a natural talent for doing hair, creating styles that made people feel beautiful inside and out. From a young age, she was drawn to the world of beauty, always watching tutorials, trying new looks on herself and friends, and learning how a new hairstyle could boost confidence. Her passion turned into purpose. Cameron dreamed of becoming a successful entrepreneur in the beauty industry, practicing on family and friends at home. Word quickly spread, and soon neighbors were asking her to do their hair too. As she entered her 20s, Cameron was building the future she'd always wanted. Supported by a strong network and a spirit that couldn't be shaken, her influence grew both in person and online. Her social media presence was more than just photos. It was a space where she shared messages of hope, growth, and resilience. She encouraged her followers to push through hard times and focus on becoming the best version of themselves. Her message was clear: dream big, stay focused, and never give up, even when the road gets tough. What started with passion grew into much more. At just 21 years old, Cameron was already making a name for herself in the beauty industry. She didn't just help people look beautiful, she helped them feel confident. Her specialty was creating natural-looking lace front wigs, a skill that earned her respect from many professionals in the field. Through years of hard work and dedication, Cameron built a strong reputation. As a licensed influencer hairstylist, she quickly became known as a rising talent. Before long, her skills took her beyond her hometown, traveling to different cities to style hair for a growing clientele, including local celebrities and influencers. Her ability to create stunning looks and connect with people helped her stand out in a competitive industry.
I taught my first lace class using my newly released product, Camo Lace Adhesive. Camouflage the lace. Camo Lace Adhesive Vibe.
On March 18, 2022, Cameron also expanded her business by launching her line of hair care products. She founded Camo Lace Adhesive, a company that offers products for lace front wigs. Known as the Young Boss Lace Guru, Cameron's expertise and creativity made her stand out as an entrepreneur. On May 19, 2022, Cameron proudly celebrated her second anniversary in the hairstyling business, a milestone that reflected her hard work, growth, and dedication to her craft.
Value to others. I will leave you guys with the quote: success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. It has been my pleasure to speak with you guys, and I wish you much success in your career. Thank you so much.
Her pride in her work was clear. She refused to be grouped with anyone who didn't share her high standards and work ethic.
When I say I am not one of them stylists, I stand on it, and you is not finna approach me as if I'm one of them stylists. I truly understand that some people really do be giving these clients the runaround. They play games, they tell them to come at such and such time, and then they stand them up. But like I said, baby, I'm not one of them, and my clients gonna forever vouch for me.
In addition to her professional accomplishments, Cameron was known for her warm and caring nature. She had a heart of gold and a contagious enthusiasm for life, which was evident by the number of people who came out to celebrate her 21st birthday on July 7, 2022. Whether she was working with clients or spending time with loved ones, Cameron's presence brought joy and positivity to everyone around her. She was also a role model to many young people aspiring to become hairstylists. Often mentoring those interested in the beauty industry, Cameron generously shared her knowledge and encouraged others to pursue their dreams with confidence and determination. Cameron truly believed in lifting others up, as she worked hard to achieve her own goals. Many who worked alongside her admired not only her talent, but also her willingness to teach and guide.
She really focused on being a mentor to other cosmetology students and also helping them excel in their careers.
For her, hairstyling was more than just creating beautiful looks. It was about building a supportive community and helping others succeed. Her entrepreneurial journey was marked by steady growth, but what truly set Cameron apart was her mindset. She didn't just dream of success. She worked relentlessly to turn those dreams into reality. In Chester County, Cameron also became known for her kindness beyond the salon. Understanding that not everyone could afford the luxury of prom styling, she quietly offered free hairstyling services to students who faced financial constraints. Her generosity ensured that no one was denied the chance to feel beautiful and confident on their special night, making a lasting impact on many young lives in her community. Driven and passionate, she constantly sought ways to improve, never letting obstacles stand in her way. Above all, Cameron believed in the power of perseverance and the strength found in never giving up. But her picture-perfect life was about to shatter. While Cameron focused on turning her passion into a profession, her personal life evolved in its own subtle way. Cameron was in a loving relationship with a man, though not much is publicly known about him. But for the sake of this story, let's call him Brandon. Brandon quickly became Cameron's closest confidant and biggest supporter. They shared a deep connection built on trust, laughter, and shared dreams. They enjoyed a vibrant social life, attending parties, events, and gatherings where Cameron's energy and Brandon's steady presence made them a popular couple. They traveled frequently, exploring new cities and experiences, often mixing business with pleasure as Cameron's hairstyling career expanded beyond their hometown. On these trips, they created lasting memories, but amid the joy and excitement of their life together, one trip would end in a heartbreak that would never heal. On the night of April 4th, 2023, Cameron was on vacation, visiting friends and taking a much-needed break from work. As always, she wasn't alone. Her boyfriend, Brandon, was by her side. The couple decided to enjoy a night out, and they headed to Magic City nightclub on Pryor Street in Atlanta, Georgia. Known as a popular strip club in southwest Atlanta, Magic City is a place where people come to dance, vibe to music, and unwind in the city's electric nightlife. Cameron and Brandon were looking forward to a carefree evening, laughs, music, and time spent together. It was meant to be one of those nights that lived on in photos and memories. However, what was supposed to be a joyful night took a terrifying turn at around 3 a.m. After a long night of music, dancing, and laughter, Cameron and Brandon decided it was time to call it a night. They left Magic City and made their way to the car with Brandon behind the wheel and Cameron settling into the passenger seat. But just moments after pulling off into the street, in an instant, the excitement of the night turned into chaos. Witnesses later shared that a car suddenly pulled up alongside them, right by the passenger side where Cameron was seated. Without warning, gunfire erupted. In a matter of seconds, multiple shots were sprayed into their vehicle. Brandon, sitting in the driver's seat, wasn't struck by any bullets, but was injured by flying shards of glass as the windows exploded around them. Dazed, bleeding, and in shock, he instinctively ducked. As the gunshots stopped and the shooter sped away, a chilling silence settled over the car. But when Brandon turned to Cameron, the sight of her told him everything he needed to know. He had to move, and fast. Brandon immediately sped off, racing down I-75 north toward Grady Memorial Hospital. His only thought was to save Cameron. During the attack, she had been struck multiple times, and the severity of her injuries became clear the moment they arrived. Doctors rushed her into emergency care, working frantically to stabilize her. But the damage was overwhelming. Cameron had sustained multiple gunshot wounds, and her injuries were so severe that even those who knew her would later say she was nearly unrecognizable. The medical team did everything they could, fighting to keep her alive, but less than 24 hours after being rushed into the hospital, the worst had happened. 21-year-old Cameron Olivia Price was pronounced dead. Cameron's death left her family and friends shattered, struggling to grasp how someone so full of life could be taken in such a violent and senseless way. The grief was overwhelming, but so were the questions. Who would do this? Why Cameron?
It's simply every parent's nightmare. A young woman shot to death in Atlanta. I'm Alan Devlin. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Tracy Hutchins. Well, Cameron Olivia Price, she was shot and killed Tuesday morning. Here's a picture of her. The 21-year-old was on vacation visiting from South Carolina. Atlanta News First, Amanda Rose spoke exclusively with her family. They are still grieving this unthinkable loss.
She didn't deserve to die like she did. No one deserves to die like that.
Parents Creighton and Jesse Price can't stop seeing their little girl.
Seeing your daughter laying in the hospital bed with her brains hanging out of her head. My God, that is a hard pill to swallow.
Police say Cameron Olivia Price was the passenger inside a car when she was shot in southwest Atlanta early Tuesday morning. Price died at the hospital. Her parents tell us the 21-year-old, who was a hairstylist from Chester, South Carolina, was in Atlanta visiting friends and a romantic partner who was driving the car at the time of the shooting. The two were leaving the strip club Magic City when shots were fired on Pryor Street.
Police knew they had to move quickly. Time was critical if they were going to get answers, not just for the investigation, but for Cameron's heartbroken family, who desperately needed closure. An intensive investigation was launched. Detectives canvassed the area, interviewed clubgoers, and spoke to anyone who might have seen or heard something that night. But despite their efforts, no solid information was found. At first, the shooting appeared to be a random act of violence, a possible drive-by with no specific target. But the more police looked into it, the more it seemed unlikely. Why had the car pulled up so deliberately next to Cameron and Brandon's vehicle? The investigators quickly turned to the one person who had witnessed the shooting firsthand, Brandon. Detectives questioned him thoroughly, asking if he and Cameron had gotten into any arguments or confrontations at the club. But Brandon was clear. They had only come to Atlanta for a short vacation. There had been no altercations with anyone. To dig deeper, investigators reached out to those who knew Cameron personally. Friends, family members, and even clients were asked the same difficult question. Did Cameron have any enemies? Was there anyone who might have had a reason to harm her? But time and again, the answer was the same. Cameron was loved. She wasn't known for drama or conflict. If someone had a problem with her, no one seemed to know about it. That only deepened the mystery. Why would someone target a young woman with no known enemies, no history of trouble? That was until a new suspect would emerge. On November 8, 2023, police identified a suspect, 22-year-old Ja'Cory Eccles. The lead came from an unlikely source, an inmate in state prison who was hoping to receive leniency in his own case. Back in May 2023, just a month after Cameron's murder, Ja'Cory had been arrested during a routine traffic stop in DeKalb County. Officers discovered an unregistered handgun in his vehicle, a direct violation of his probation terms. He was taken into custody, but what he didn't know was that he'd make a critical mistake. While in state prison, Eccles allegedly bragged to another inmate about being involved in a shooting near the Magic City nightclub back in April. The inmate, looking to reduce his own sentence, contacted authorities. His account included chilling details about Cameron's murder, details that had never been made public, information only the killer would have known. Detectives moved quickly. Ballistics experts compared the gun found in Ja'Cory's possession during the traffic stop to the shell casings recovered at the crime scene on April 4th. It was the same weapon that had been used in the shooting that killed Cameron Price. Ja'Cory had been sitting in prison for months on a probation violation, unaware that he might never regain his freedom. But that left one crucial question unanswered, was why? Why would Ja'Cory Eccles target Cameron and Brandon? To understand that, police began digging deeper into Eccles' past. Ja'Cory Eccles was no stranger to law enforcement. His criminal history dated back to his teenage years and had steadily escalated. In 2019, he was convicted of financial identity fraud in Cobb County, a nonviolent offense that had resulted in probation rather than prison time. But his behavior had only worsened since then, transitioning from fraud to weapons-related crimes. What police still didn't know was whether the shooting was random, a case of mistaken identity, or if Cameron had been deliberately targeted. But what they did know was this: a young woman full of promise had been gunned down, and now, at last, they had a suspect who could finally be held accountable. Ja'Cory Eccles was formally charged with murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon in connection with Cameron Price's death. Following the charges, he was transferred from Georgia Diagnostic and Classification State Prison to Fulton County Jail to await trial. At first, it wasn't clear whether Ja'Cory had any personal connection to Cameron. Investigators explored the possibility that the shooting was more than just a random act. Surveillance footage from the night of the shooting revealed a vehicle matching the description of Ja'Cory's car near the scene around the time of the incident. This footage, along with ballistics evidence and witness statements, helped authorities build a strong case against him. But what came next shocked everyone. During a preliminary hearing, prosecutors revealed that Ja'Cory had no connection whatsoever to Cameron or her boyfriend Brandon. They had never met, never spoken, never even crossed paths until that fateful night. This wasn't a targeted hit. It was a random act of violence. But then, a single clue brought the case into a sharp corner. Security footage recovered from a nearby gas station showed Ja'Cory visibly intoxicated and agitated, arguing with friends before the shooting. Moments later, as Brandon's black Escalade drove past, Ja'Cory allegedly turned to his companions and said, "Watch this." He then followed the vehicle. What followed was a senseless, unprovoked shooting that ended Cameron's life. The randomness of the attack made it all the more horrifying. There was no reason, just a young woman in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ja'Cory maintained his innocence despite the mounting evidence. He refused to speak publicly about the case, choosing instead to communicate only through his attorney. His defense attorney argued it was a case of mistaken identity, that Ja'Cory had no reason to target Cameron or Brandon, but prosecutors weren't convinced. During a bail hearing, the court denied Ja'Cory's request for release, citing his lengthy criminal history and the severity of the charges. In September 2024, nearly a year and a half after Cameron's death, Ja'Cory stood trial for her murder. The proceedings lasted 2 weeks, featuring testimony from forensic experts, eyewitnesses, and Cameron's boyfriend, Brandon. who tearfully relived the horrifying night. After just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a unanimous verdict. 22-year-old Ja'Cory Eccles was found guilty on all counts and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 65 years for the remaining charges. Justice had been served, but for Cameron's loved ones, the pain of her absence would never fade. 6 months after Cameron's death, the Price family turned their grief into purpose. They established the Cameron Olivia Foundation, a mission-driven organization committed to continuing the work Cameron had only just begun. Cameron believed everyone deserved to feel beautiful, so they decided to help young cosmetology students find their way.
Our daughter was all about, making people feel good, putting smiles on people's faces, making them feel beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. Unfortunately, of course, her life got cut short, and so we just decided to do something in honor of her and her memory to continue her legacy.
For that legacy, her family has started the Cameron Olivia Foundation. Cameron's family says although only 21, she was contributing so much to the community. So now the foundation is a way to keep that going.
When my sister was here, she really focused on being a mentor to other cosmetology students and also helping them excel in their careers. So it feels good that us as a foundation and as board members, we get to kind of give that same thing back to the community.
The foundation will provide scholarships and grants to help others start on their journey. And because Cameron was a young stylist in the community, her family says some of the funding from the foundation will also go towards making students in need feel beautiful for prom, just as Cameron did.
I feel like she was really just getting started, but she was only 21 years old, but I really do feel like she accomplished a lot. And so that's kind of what the foundation is for, to carry out her name and continue the legacy of Cameron Olivia Price.
The foundation focuses on 3 core initiatives, each reflecting Cameron's passion and values. It provides scholarships for aspiring cosmetologists in Chester County, covering tuition, supplies, and licensing fees, mentorship programs that connect experienced stylists with newcomers in the beauty industry, and beautiful prom experiences, offering free professional styling services to students who can't afford hair and makeup for prom. For the Price family, the foundation has become more than a tribute. It's a connection. Through it, they continue to meet young people who remind them of Cameron, passionate, creative souls determined to make a mark on the world. Cameron Olivia Price was more than a talented 21-year-old hairstylist. She was a vibrant daughter, a devoted sister, and a loyal friend. Her life was filled with promise, full of dreams, plans, and purpose. Her death left a gaping void in the hearts of everyone who loved her. Losing someone so young, so full of potential, is always devastating. But when that loss comes through such a brutal and unexpected tragedy, the pain runs even deeper. Still, through the Cameron Olivia Foundation, her light continues to shine. Her name lives on not just in memory, but in action. In every young stylist she inspires, every prom dress moment she makes possible, and every dream she helps keep alive. The tragic story of 21-year-old Cameron Olivia Price is a heartbreaking reminder of how a bright future, full of passion and promise, can be stolen in an instant. Let me know what you think in the comments section below.